So back in part two, I came up with a clay with basically with a clay called Duplicis cerebrum. That's basically includes the radial zoans, okay? And I referenced the anatomy of the radial zoan tissue cells, having having seven subcells in an octagonal shape, okay? What I didn't realize is that the way I was having an octagonal shape, the way I was imagining it, which I'll put an image up of that now, doesn't actually work. The entire point of it was basically like I was shifting off of this CGP Grey video called Hexagons and bestagons. It's basically just. And one of the things it's mentioned is hexagons are very good for creating a structure with no gaps, like a honeycomb structure, like what you're seeing here, and so that was kind of the logic I was working off of. But I was drawing as octagons because stupid, and so that's why I kept on getting fucked up and weird and wouldn't actually line up. So that got solved, but honestly I think I prefer the octagonal version, just because basically I'm imagining there's several layers of the octagonal tissue shown in that sketch, stacked on top of each other, just stacked on top of each other, and then that allows the tissues to remain somewhat loose and thus flexible and mobile, seeing as when we're not talking about the muscle cells, these are organisms with cell walls. Also, another thing I want to bring up that's also like an error I'm going to amend is the clade of, let me think, Impiscibus maris, is that what it calls? Or is that the old name? Fuck, I can't remember if this. Let me go to the script and look for. Okay, it's Intersuntpicius. Basically, I describe how its digestive tract is inverted. And when I was initially creating the clade, the reasoning for this was I was imagining it pumping forward out of the area with the tentacles, and then actually biting down on stuff with a bit at the front, and then eating it. Okay, this is before I imagined the kelp forest when I was just imagining it as a general clade, okay? But quite honestly, having the feeding arms next to the mouth for more general species in the kelp forest to be more beneficial. But considering they already have the ability to sit it back and forth, I have now made a canon that, depending on what species, that it can either swallow food through one way or swallow food through the other way. Yes, that was just a hiccup, and yes, I am going to leave it in. Fuck you. You can't stop me. Mwahaha. I'm actually going to take up that old image of my character evilly smiling. Maybe, I don't know. I'm wasting time now anyway. But basically, yeah, some species that migrate over the sea between Para Island and Para Britannia may even switch when they're migrating as having a mouth that they eat, that they can bite down stuff through at the area described on the right of this picture. Would be beneficial for living the pelagic zone when they're traveling, but then when they're doing generalist stuff in the sea forest, having it at the other end next to the feeding arms is more beneficial. But yeah, so they can switch. So depending on species, evolution can easily switch the direction of it back and forth. Basically, in this clade, I did it once. Now I can do it again. That's the canon I've set now. Blech. Anyway. So that's two amendments. Oh, and I've already brought up the thing about the intertell zone in a different video, so it doesn't really matter now. But yeah, so that's some amendments to canon. I just don't want to put some plot holes I'm going to, well, unpotholify. Like, I'm going to cover them up. Yes, if you can't tell, it is 2:20. So, I'm not exactly thinking the straightest, so I think I'm going to end this here before I waste more of your time.